Yeah, welcome everybody. My name is Brett Lonsdale from Lightning Tools, and today we're going to be taking a look at our product Social Squared and have a look at, first of all, what Social Squared is, how it can be used in both Microsoft SharePoint and also in Microsoft Teams as well. And we're going to also take a look at some of the brand new features that we're going to be launching this month. So the product is ready for release, and hopefully, if you're familiar with Social Squared already, you'll be able to first of all pick up a few tips and tricks, but you'll also get that opportunity to see what's new and then get implementing the new features inside of your organization. So before we get going with some exciting demos, let's just have a quick intro for those of you who are not familiar with Lightning Tools, and then we'll jump into the product and take a look around. And the majority of this is going to be live, so you'll be able to see Social Squared, like I say, from the ground up, but also look at some of the new features as well. So in terms of Lightning Tools, we're a company based in the UK. We're in a town called Lutterworth, which is very central to England. We do also have a presence in North America as well. That's in Orlando, Florida, where most of our technical support team and onboarding team reside. In terms of the company, like I said, we're located here in Leicestershire. We have our subsidiary, and we've been providing products now around Microsoft SharePoint to over 2,000 active customers since 2007. So we're in our 17th year of doing so. And those products include, of course, Social Squared that we're going to be taking a look at today, but other tools as well, such as permissions management tools, content aggregation, form design, and data integration as well. So you'll be able to check those out on our website, which is lightningtools.com. So the agenda for today, we're going to, as I mentioned, have a quick look at what Social Squared is and what benefits a discussion board and of course Social Squared will bring to you and to your organization. There's many different ways that you could use it. Of course, it is a single product in terms of a discussion board, but it could be used for all sorts of different scenarios, which we're going to be taking a look at. And then we're going to have majority of this webinar is going to be a live demonstration where we walk through the product both from an end user perspective, so you'll be able to see how to create posts, how to reply to posts. Also, we'll see how to moderate posts as well if you are a moderator, and we'll also be taking a look at how to configure Social Squared from the ground up. So building out new forum groups and forums within inside a new site or within inside a new team. And then we're going to have a live demonstration on the new features as well. So there's about 4 or 5 different features that we're going to be taking a look at, and it'd be great to get some of your feedback on those features as well, to see if there's anything that you would suggest, or even if you have any new ideas that we should consider. And that's one of the benefits of attending a live webinar. So at the very end, you can do that actually verbally if you want to raise your hand or comment in the chat window. We'll be able to unmute you and you can ask your question and provide your feedback. Okay, so let's just first of all take a look at the benefits that discussion boards can bring. And I really want to sort of differentiate what a discussion board like Social Squared is versus some of the other technologies that you have. And this is absolutely not holding anything against other technologies, but they're just slightly different use cases within inside of Microsoft 365. So the immediate thing when people see Social Squared, they immediately compare it to Viva Engage or what was Yammer, and they may also compare it to the likes of the Posts tab within inside of Microsoft Teams as well. And these, of course, are Microsoft's social products in terms of discussions, Q&A, and so on. But Social Squared actually offers very, very similar functionality, but has a very different structure. And it really depends on what you're after. We ourselves actually use Viva Engage. We also use Teams all day long, but there are certain scenarios where we use a discussion board. And to give you an idea, a lot of people have actually already used discussion boards, maybe without knowing it. It could be that you've had an issue with your car, or you've had an issue baking a cake, or whatever it might be, and you're looking for some help. And typically we go and post our question, or we post an error message, or post the fact that we've got a light on our dashboard in our vehicle into Google or Bing, and we get answers not from maybe something that's a permanent site, but it could be from a forum where other people that are experts in that area have provided answers. So we may post that question about a vehicle, the fact that we've got a warning light on our dashboard, we're wondering what it is. Somebody else has experienced that, or they're an expert in this type of vehicle, and they've responded with the right answer, and we can go through and apply whatever answer was given. And then we can take some extra steps by actually providing feedback and saying in a comment that helped us, or we could mark that as an appropriate answer, and so on, which will not just help the person who provided the answer, but it's also going to help other people that are in the same situation as us that are coming across those same scenarios. So that's the sort of thing that we can apply also to business. And this could be for several different reasons. We're actually going to be taking a look at a scenario about creating events today. So inside of Microsoft SharePoint, one of the brand new templates that you can use is a event planning template. That's what we're going to apply. So of course, if we're planning an event, there could be all sorts of different things that we need to consider from different perspectives and different people's skill sets. So it could be around marketing, it could be around speakers, it could be around venues and so on. And when you're onboarding new people, of course, those new people have got lots of different questions that they want to have answered, and they can go and find those answers, not just this year, but also next year when the event is repeated. So we can, over time, build up knowledge from people's questions and their answers. So, as I mentioned, there's lots of different types of scenarios that you might use this for. There's a lot of our customers using it in classroom environments for education. They are also using it for customer support. They're also using it for employee onboarding, knowledge sharing, and so on. What we're going to be focused on today, as mentioned, is the events and planning. So just bear with me. So yeah, we're going to take a look at events and planning, and we'll have a look at how we can support the event template with a discussion board inside of Microsoft SharePoint. So without any more PowerPoint slides for the time being, let's get into our first demo. And you're going to have a look at an existing instance of Social Squared where there's already some content. That's the best way to view the product. Otherwise, we're really looking at an empty web part. You'll see some content already in there. We'll learn how we can find answers to questions by searching for content and using the different tags. We'll also be able to reply to existing topics or create topics ourselves. And if we find anything that maybe we're also wanting to know the answer to, we could subscribe to a particular topic or to a particular forum and get notified when people do reply as well. And as I mentioned, we may also want to provide feedback ourselves if what we read is helpful, so that other people will benefit from that also. So we'll jump into our live demo. So the event actually is around an actual event, but it's fictional content here in the discussion board. So the event is called Collab Summit. It's an event that is a Microsoft 365 community event that is taking place in 89 days time in the town of Wiesbaden, Germany. And what we're going to do is just go through and click into the discussion forum, where you can see that we've built a discussion board around this particular event to help with all of the planning for it. So, of course, we don't just want to have a single team that covers all of the different conversations that people might have, where people are asking about sponsoring, maybe they're talking about marketing, speakers, etc., because there's teams that manage each of these individual parts, but everybody needs to have the full picture and know what's going on in terms of the actual event. So what you'll notice is that we've got a venue section. So anybody that is helping to organize the venue can raise questions with the entire team. Anybody can reply to those questions, and like I say, other people will benefit from the answers that are given over time. But this means that we can focus on certain areas. So if I'm working in marketing, I can focus my efforts down here. I can actually collapse some of these different forum groups so that I am just looking at marketing here on the page. But equally, I can benefit from some of the other questions and the answers that are provided in other forums. So this particular example, like I say, it's got the venue as a forum group. And within inside that forum group are a few of the other forums. So we have the expo hall planning, we've got the registration desk planning, session room planning as well. And then under speakers, we have the speaker submissions, session discussions, and then sponsors, we've got sponsorship discussions and a few different areas of marketing as well, such as social media and paid advertising, etc. And this could be exactly the same sort of categorization that you might come across on the internet. So if this was something along with the idea of cars, this could be a BMW forum, for example, where we've got 3 series and 5 series and 7 series as different forum groups. And then inside the forum groups, we've got forums such as mechanical, could be interior issues or bodywork issues as well. So then you're always learning specifically about that one particular forum, and you can post your questions inside those forums where you're most likely to get the answers to your questions as well. So that's how we can structure it. And if we just head into one of those forums, you'll notice in here that there's a few topics that have already been created. So this is in the Expo Hall planning. And one of the ones that is unread, we can see it's in bold, is about the Expo Hall plan. So I can go into there. Somebody's submitted a picture or a plan, and I can, of course, provide my feedback. I could vote with a thumbs up or given that feedback that I like it. And I can also reply to it as well. So my reply might just simply be, what are the yellow spaces? Or something along those lines. And we can then hit reply. And of course, we will expect to have a further response to my reply a little bit later. So that's how we can go in and respond to topics that other people have created. Like I say, I've voted for that. I could also rate the entire post as well, which gives some further feedback. Now, because I've also asked a question within there, what I'm going to do is subscribe. So I can subscribe, or I can see how much you already subscribed, but I can subscribe to that topic. So when somebody replies to me or replies to the main post, I'm going to be notified via email, and I can go through and see what the response is. So I don't have to keep manually coming back and checking to see what the response is. So yeah, there's a few different posts in here, all to do with sponsoring. Lightning Tools would like to bring their electric rally car and put it in the expo hall. We'll definitely vote that one up. And we can see, 365 Tribe, they want to set up a waffle bar. So we could go through and comment on that one and say that sounds great. Okay, so that's how we can engage with some of those posts. What I could also do, as I mentioned, is create a new topic as well. So let's just go into something like the Expo Hall plan in here, and we'll add a new topic. So this could be from a fictional company. Okay, so there's the question, and notice how we could post that anonymously. We could also alert or be subscribed to alerts, and I can also tag this as well. So I'm going to tag it with Expo Hall, which is one that's already been used, but we may also put something like stage request or something like that here as well, which would be useful. And then we can go through and add that one as a topic. Okay, so that's how we can create topics. We can reply to topics. We can also search as well. So if I do a search for badge, for example, we can see that there's a post about badge printing. There's also a question about in-person versus self-service badges as well. And this particular one looks quite lengthy. So let's just click onto view topic on that one. I can't really be bothered to read all of that, but what I can see is that somebody's actually summarized the topic already for me, and that's something you can do with Social Squared if you integrate it with AI, which is an optional thing. But anything that is a lengthy post, you can simply come in and summarize it. So that could be the entire thread. I've just deleted that one, and I'll show you how that can be done. So let's just hit summarize at the top here, and we'll ask ChatGPT to summarize this post, and then I can set that summary at the top here, where other people will be able to benefit from that as well. Okay, so we've seen how to create topics, reply to topics, search for topics. We've also got the tag cloud. So if we go into the tag cloud, you'll see some of the tags that have been used. So if we click, for example, on Expo Hall, I can see in there that there's been 3 different topics, all to do with the Expo Hall, and we can navigate into those and of course read those and so on. So that's just another way of being able to navigate. And with that tag cloud, you can also follow a tag as well. The benefit of doing so is the fact that the tags can be used across multiple forums. So if we're following a particular forum, we'll only be notified about posts or replies to posts within inside that forum. Whereas if I follow something like sponsors, sorry, let me just do that again. So I need to type in sponsors at the top here. So if I'm following sponsors, anytime the sponsors tag is used in any of the forums, I'll get notified about that, and I can go in and read that thread. Okay, and there's lots of other views as well. So if we hit the left-hand navigation, you'll notice that we can see other ways of viewing the content. We can see popular topics based on the number of views. I can also see recent activities as well, so what's been newly created, and I can also search on certain users. So in here, if I was to maybe have a look at active users first, we can see who the most active users might be, and then we can go through and also search on a user, and we can follow that user as well as being able to follow a person. And any of these views can also be pinned. So if you've got your favorite view, such as maybe unanswered questions as a view, we can pin that open so that you'll be able to find those more easily in the future. All right, so that's our sort of first demo on navigating, creating topics, replying to topics, and providing feedback. So creating a discussion board from scratch. See how we can go through and set this up. So what we're going to do is actually create a new site. We're going to add the forum groups in the forums, and then configure some of the different social squared options, including moderation, so that moderators can approve or decline posts. They can also maintain the governance of the posts within inside a particular forum, so that we're making sure that that those are all created in the right place, and so on. So we've got this one for the European Collaboration Summit, but what we could do with is a similar example for a sister event, which is the Cloud Summit. So here we're just going to open up SharePoint in a new tab, and let's create a brand new site. So this is going to be a team site, and we're going to use the event planning template in Cloud Summit, and we can add members. So I'm just going to add a couple of people here, demo user 5 and demo user 6. And incidentally, these are the only people that would actually have access. All of the security for Social Squared is all driven by the SharePoint site or the team security. Adding members, that automatically gives them the ability to create topics, reply to topics, and so on. So we're not having to go through and configure people independently of SharePoint. So we've got our brand new team, and what we're going to do is just go through and edit the page. I could create a new page, or we could just drop Social Squared anywhere on the existing site. So I'm just going to select Social Squared Forums here, drop that onto the home page, and what you'll notice is the first time it's instantiated on a page, it goes through and generates some SharePoint lists, and these are hidden lists, but it's where all the content resides. So the great thing about that, again, is just to point out that this is not a SaaS product where it's being hosted with a third party. It's actually installed as a web part in your environment, and the repository, the SharePoint lists, resides within inside that particular SharePoint site. So there's no data stored or processed outside of the site itself. So we have Social Squared added. I could go through and show an animation on how to configure it for the first time or step through that, but I know what I'm doing. I've done this a few times. So I'm just going to jump into the forum settings here, and this is where we can start to build out our forum groups. So as you saw, we had a venue forum group. So I could create one here called venue. And we also had a speakers forum group as well. So I've just added those two. And under the venue forum, this is where we could create things like the expo hall and give that a description. And this is where we can also establish some moderators. So we don't have to have a moderator if we don't want to, but if we have got somebody overseeing the venue and other people working on that team, then that user may want to moderate the posts. They can edit the posts, they can decline the posts, they can also delete the posts if they want to. So they're basically governing that one particular forum. And you can refine how that moderation works as well. So we can allow anybody to create new topics and reply to topics without having to be approved, or we can force them to be approved before they get displayed to other users. We can also have it work where the moderator or the administrator are the only people who can actually go through and create topics, and that's something that works really well in a sort of classroom environment where you've got teachers creating the topics and you're expecting the students to reply to them and so on. So I've added a moderator. You can have multiple moderators if you want to. There's lots of different properties that we're going to see in a moment for the instance of Social Squared within inside this site, but this is where we can actually override some of those properties as well. So if we want to keep this a bit more professional and not allow emoji icons, we can do that. If we want to enable voting but disable down voting, we can do that as well, and so on. So this is just a way of refining the properties or the options just for that one particular forum. So we've got the one called Expo Hall. Let's add one called Registration. So registration discussions and add that forum. And then we can navigate back to our speakers forum, and we'll have one here for speaker submissions. There we go. All right, so there's the forum groups and the forums created. So in terms of configuring the different options and so on, whilst we're still in edit mode on this page, we can go into the web part properties. You'll notice that we can provide a slightly different title. So let's actually just call this Cloud Summit Discussions and Planning. And we could also go through and configure things like paging, notifications, whether we want those coming through on email or on Teams, whether we want to work with app mentions with inside the posts and things like that. We've also got different ways of working with tagging. So you saw me using some tags just a moment ago where I could literally type anything as a tag similar to X or LinkedIn, or we can create a term set as well where users would have to pick from an already established term and use that to tag the content. There's also things like badges. So the more you reply to people or mark their replies as the answer, or even have one of your replies marked as an answer, you receive a point. And you can determine what those point thresholds are as to when you would get another badge. And you can also go and select what those badges might be. So under the badge selection, you'll see there's stars, or there's even pints of beer and things like that you may want to go through and choose to be awarded. We've also got all of the different feedback options. So if you want to use ratings, you can, or you can turn that off. Likewise with voting. We're going to have a look at polls shortly. There's anonymous posting as well, which is useful. So if you want people to provide genuine feedback without being judged by managers and things like that, then you can actually enable anonymous posting and allow the user to post a reply or a question anonymously. And that sometimes is useful, but other times it's not. You want to know who that person is, so you can switch that off if you want to. There's also terms and conditions. So this is great if you want people to make sure that they know that their questions are going to be visible by other people or anything like that. You can put that in there, and they can accept those terms and conditions prior to being able to use Social Squared. Okay, so there's some of the different options that we have that can all be configured with inside the properties. And as I mentioned, they can all be overwritten per forum if you want to. So if we go into the expo hall, we may decide to override some of that by perhaps enabling likes or something with inside that one particular forum itself. And we're now ready to post. So once we've got that configured and working, let me just republish that. We can jump into the Expo Hall forum. Let's just add another one. It says, I will only sponsor if I can speak. So just going to keep that one brief. And the challenge with this one, when you're creating a topic, is there's not always just one forum that this is appropriate for. So, of course, this is appropriate for the Expo Hall because it's a sponsorship, but it's also appropriate for the speaker sessions. So what I could do is choose to cross-post that. We'll choose the speaker sessions, speaker submissions as well, select that forum, and as soon as we post this one, that topic is going to be created in both places. We did have some approval set up with moderation, so you can see that has been that's raised an alert under the Expo Hall. So the user in question who is set up as the moderator will need to go through and approve that first. But once that's approved, that post is going to appear in both of those forums. Okay, so that's just how we can go through and configure the different forum groups and assign moderators and so on as well. So let's have a look at some of the new features in Social Squared. So this is in this brand new release. One of the things we've implemented is the translation of posts. So Social Squared itself is actually available in 4 different languages. It's available in Dutch, German. We also have French and Spanish, as well as of course English. But that doesn't translate the content. Of course, it's only the actual user interface, the labels and everything that we have on our buttons, the menu items and so on. So we can now translate the content of the posts through AI, which we'll be taking a look at. We've also got speech to text recognition as well. So if there was something that's keeping my hands busy, or if I'm walking and I want to be able to dictate a post or a reply to a post, that's something I can now do. We can also create polls as well, so we can get feedback in a structured way to make better decisions. And we've also got some gamification improvements as well around the badges and the top contributors. And then finally, there's also some customization improvements which we're going to take a look at. So let's just jump straight back into Social Squared, and we're going to go back to the one with more content. So let's just step back there, and we'll first of all have a look at the translation. So down here under the sponsorship discussions, if we navigate into there, there is actually a question that has been copied and pasted from an email into the discussion forum by one of the sponsors teams that was written in German. So what we can do is just simply click the option here in the bottom right hand corner and choose C translation. And so that will show me the original text. We can then choose the language that we want to translate into. So we'll translate it into UK English. And now we can actually understand what that post was about. So yeah, there's the post. We could, of course, copy that if we want to. And let's reply. So here it is in English. And of course, this is something I wouldn't necessarily need to do. That user, once they know, they would be able to do that for themselves. Okay, so let's just hit reply on that one. So that's the translation. So that is using, in this case, ChatGPT, which is optional. You don't have to use it with ChatGPT. If you do want to, then you need to have a ChatGPT key. So this is where you can go through and add that, but without putting that key in there, which you have to be the administrator in order to be able to do, you wouldn't be able to use that feature if that was a concern. But what you can also do is use your own endpoint as well. So if you've got private ChatGPT, then that would also work for you as well. And just not new features, but other places where that will show up. As I mentioned, if we go into some of the other discussions here, so look under the registration desk and the badge printing, we could actually suggest a reply. So when I go to reply, we can ask ChatGPT. So that will go through and suggest some replies for me. And we could set that as our response after editing it if we want to. Like I said, we could also summarize as well. So they're the three main features where you can use ChatGPT for that functionality. Okay, so that's the translation, which is pretty useful. Let's go and take a look at the next feature, which is the creating a poll to assist with decision making. So we'll jump back in, and in here we do have again under the registration desk this in-person versus self-service. Lots of different opinions. So what we're going to do here is reply and say, let's create a poll and vote this decision. And so down here we can now create a poll. So we'll have just simply self-service desk. There we go. And we don't want to allow multiple selections because that'll just confuse things even more. It's one or the other. And then we can also add a expiry date where you can't vote anymore. So it would make sense that we've got a lot of planning to do. So let's just put a month on that one. And we can preview what this is going to look like. And if we're happy with it, we can just hit save. Okay, so let's reply to that with our poll. And as we scroll down here, you can now see that we can go through and vote. So I'll submit the in-person one, and you can see that that's tracked me 100% since I'm the only person replying. So brand new feature. It's something that, of course, is available in lots of different social platforms like WhatsApp or even Viva Engage and so on, but just helps you to make a decision using Social Squared as well. So we can maybe go through and submit that one as an answer as well, which would help other people. So, so that's another new feature that we've got. We also have the create a post via speech recognition. So let's just jump back. So if I want to create a brand new post, let's maybe put it under the expo hall planning. We'll add a new topic, and I'm just going to add a subject of expo hall plan, and we'll go into the paragraph. So I can click onto the voice message and get this to listen. So I'm currently painting my nails. Don't start any rumors about that one. And I want to create a post about the expo hall plan and to provide my feedback on it. So let's just hit stop. You can see that that's captured everything that I've said. I can now go through and set that as the post message, and we've caught that into the post there. We've got the tag suggestion as well, and then we can go in and add that post. So especially useful if you're using the mobile app via Teams. or yeah, if your hands are just busy at the moment, then you can go through and create a post using that voice input. All right, so a couple more features. The top contributors. So you can use the data viewer, another web part by Lightning Tools, in conjunction with Social Squared for reporting purposes. However, we've listened to some feedback, and as well as the badges that show up against your name, so you can see here I've got 8 points, 2 badges. We're now showing the number of points that you have, which we didn't do before. But equally, we also have the top contributors view as well. So it's just a great way of keeping track on your team, seeing how much they're contributing towards the different discussions that you're having, maybe around planning and so on. And of course, you can engage with those people through the people card here if you wanted to as well. So just a sort of minor feature, but a useful one if you're managing this team and you want to make sure that you're getting the engagement from everybody that is on that team. And the final features are just looking at some of the customization options that we now have under the rich text and also on that left-hand navigation bar. So we'll jump back into Social Squared. Let's step into creating a new topic again. And when you're creating a new topic, you can see we've been collecting different options along this rich text toolbar for quite some time. Again, based on feedback, one of the useful ones is to insert code snippets. So if I was posting a question, there's something wrong with my HTML or my JavaScript, it's not working for me, I'm posting this in here and I want people to be able to reply to it. By posting it as a JavaScript block or of course a HTML block and so on, you get that syntax formatting actually within inside the post itself, so that it makes sense to anybody reading it. But equally, that can be quite confusing if you're using Social Squared for any other reason. So one of the things we've now offered is the ability to go through and hide any of these buttons that you deem to be not useful within inside of your environment. So you'll notice the little settings icon here where we can go in and customize that toolbar. So yeah, if we didn't want people inserting tables or inserting iframes, we can switch those off. We can also switch off the syntax highlighting feature that we just spoke about. Maybe switch off emojis if we don't want people using those and so on. And we can save that, and that's now the experience that we will get. So that code drop down has gone, can't insert an emoji, and so on and so forth. So again, sort of minor thing, but useful and based on the feedback that we've got from our customers. And equally, this menu's been growing as well. So you'll notice that we've added some submenus. So under topics, popular topics and unanswered topics used to appear actually as main items. So this was getting quite long. So we've managed to create some flyout menus in there, but equally you can go into the customize menu and you can turn off some of the features that you don't want people to be able to see on that left-hand navigation. So if you don't like the topic contributors view, you can switch that off. You could switch off the my posts view and so on and so forth. And once we've saved that, you'll see that that customization has taken place. Okay, so they're the brand new features. And the only thing I'm going to just finish off with is to show you how we can add this into Teams as well. This is not a brand new feature. It's been around for a while now, but everything we did just demo was in SharePoint. The benefit here, we've got the European Collaboration Summit team already open in Teams, and I can go in and add the Social Squared tab. So that anybody using the team rather than SharePoint, if that's your preference, you can also post and view posts via Teams as well. So, so that's brought in all of the content that, of course, was coming from the SharePoint site. It is actually the same repository, the underlying lists to that SharePoint site. But now we can go in and we can see all those posts, and we've got exactly the same features available here, plus more. So when I go to add a new topic, you'll also see some specific Teams integration, so just creating online meetings and so on. So it might be that we're discussing something, going back and forth, unable to reach an answer. So what we could do is simply go in and suggest a meeting. So we can reply to this and create an online meeting, notify people that the meeting is taking place. We can give it a subject. And add our attendees and so on. So we do need to add more to that. But anyway, you get the idea. That will then give us the ability to open up topics and so on from there. Okay, and at that point, I'm going to open up to some questions. There are some common questions that we do get asked, which I think I managed to answer along the way as well. Yeah, where is my data stored is quite a common one. Yeah, what we're offering here with Social Squared is actually an SPFX web part, a SharePoint Framework web part. And once that's added onto the page, you saw that it provisioned the lists. So those lists are residing within inside your SharePoint site or within inside your team, and they're secured by the people that have access to that team or to that SharePoint site. So there's no content that is processed or shared otherwise outside of that team. So from a secure point of view, yeah, it's configured with your security around your Microsoft 365 tenant. So of course there's multiple factor authentication and permissions and so on that you can put into place. Can external users access the content? Yep. So as long as you're allowing guest users into your site or into your team, they can also contribute. So they can create topics, reply to topics, and so on as well. So this will have the potential of spanning your customer base or your suppliers, your partner chain, and so on. The architecture is a SharePoint Framework web part, as I mentioned. So everything is encapsulated within that. And then finally, the licensing. So the licensing is working on the number of users within inside the SharePoint or inside your tenant. So these are real people, not guest accounts. So it's licensed SharePoint users would be licensed, and it roughly works out to less than $2 per user per year on that one. Okay, so let's have some questions from you if you have any. So if you want to, you can post a question into the chat pane or also use the Q&A panel as well. I don't think there's been any questions yet, but if you have any, you're welcome to post them there. Equally, feel free to reach out to me if you want on brett@lightningtools.com or also on help@lightningtools.com as well, and we'll be able to answer your questions through there. And if there is no questions, then you get 15 minutes of your day back. So we have. So how are we going to share the recording? So yeah, great question. So you'll be able to find on our website, lightningtools.com, on the main menu is a webinars section. So if you go to webinars, you'll be able to find this webinar, but also previously recorded webinars as well. So you'll see some on some of the other products and other topics that we've also been creating. And just to give you a rough idea of time frame, once I've edited out all my ums and ahs and so on, that should be listed on there as of tomorrow. Thanks for the feedback there about the customization features. Yep, so it is based on your feedback too. So yeah, we do listen to our customers and the feedback that you have. So we don't just throw more and more options at you. We give you the ability to not roll them out if that's a requirement. But thanks for the feedback. Appreciate that. Okay, I don't see anything else. So just want to thank you all for attending and just give you the heads up. We are focusing on our Deliver Point product next month. That's the permissions tool. So look out for the announcements about that webinar So we'll be talking about some really great features that we've implemented for enterprise organizations so that they can get some great performance when producing large scoped permission reports. All right, so thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.